Well, good evening, everybody, or good morning or good afternoon, whenever you're deciding to see this. My name is Sharon Chaden Glass, and I'm so happy to see you all here again. As I mentioned just before I got this recording going, we've been doing this since August 2020. So if you are new to these sessions, I warmly welcome you. I'm so glad you're here. I usually introduce myself with my title, but my title recently changed because I have a new job. Same employer, because I love my employer and I hope I never ever have to leave them. Sinclair Community College, they're the best. And I was an instructional media designer working on the media production side of the e-learning division, but I recently transitioned into an instructional designer role. So now I'm the person that is working with faculty and building the course and putting it in our learning management system so that students have the best online learning experience possible. I am really happy to bring you two new speakers today. We have Tyler Banh and Elyse Klein. And Tyler, it's all you.
Thank you for having me, Sharon. Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler Bond. I am a manager on the digital learning team at Banh and Company, where I've been working for the last 3 years, and I'm based in Chicago, Illinois. I previously taught high school mathematics for about 4 years. This was outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I transitioned to instructional design around like 2018. And the process for me took about 3 full months of like unemployment. And I was a junior instructional designer at a marketing and advertising agency company for a year and a half before I decided like I was ready to move on to something else. Got recruited to Banh and Company, where I took on the job title of senior specialist for digital learning. And it was during those last like 2.5 years as a senior specialist where I was able to transition away from instructional design and more towards like learning experience platforms and learning management systems. And then I got my promotion to manager in October, where I've been a manager on our digital learning team for the last 4 months. So now my main responsibilities are related to like learning experience platforms. So that's LXPs, and then learning management systems, that's LMSs. That includes like the configuration and the administration of those learning systems.
I just recently had, I have never thought so much about a learning management system as I did when I started into this role, and I was asked to create update videos about changes to the learning management system. I said, say what? We make videos for that? I'll be damned. We make videos with updates and people care about these things. Well, not a lot of people, but some people do.
Uh-huh.
Right? Tyler, are you in?
Yeah, for sure. I'm really deep into the work. When I talk to my colleagues about my work, they would hate to do the work that I do. And then I'm in a position now where I'm like, I hate doing like instructional design work, or like if I'm asked to do like content development stuff, like I just really don't like using my time or like skills to do that work anymore. So it might be one of those things where like the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, it was just such a surprise to me that there was so much behind the scenes stuff. They're like, yeah,
Mhm.
we get these updates every month and we got to test them and we got to see how
Yeah.
it goes. And here's the test server. And I'm like, I just did not know we did all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
So you kind of do that.
Yep, that's all me.
Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah, I love the aspect of my job. Like, I might talk about this later, but I think as an instructional designer, one of my limitations was that I'm not a creative person. Like, I don't consider myself to be a creative person. And I think that you need to have like creative skills to be a well-balanced instructional designer. Whereas all I had was like an expertise of like learning design, but not like the aesthetic design. So in terms of the work on our team, like there are people who are way better than me at the creative aspect. And since I'm more like of a systems thinker, it's like it makes the job really easy. Like I've always being like a math teacher is like just thinking about systems and like rules and how all these things like logic and all these things, how they play together. Like that's why I excel in the role now. Is like I don't really have to think creatively. It's like if the product either works or it doesn't. If it works, great, my job's easy. If it doesn't work, like I create a ticket, escalate to the vendor, track the ticket, and so forth.
Mhm. It's really nice to kind of hear that there's a variety of jobs in this field. If you're not a creative person, Tyler's like, there's a job for you. Someone needs to do the job, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say most people would not prefer to have this job. It's it can be boring, but the way that I think about it is like at the end of the day, it's just computer work, right? And I'm very open with my team director and my team about like this work that I do. Like I think that teaching will have been like the second hardest job I ever had. I think the hardest job I ever had was when I worked at McDonald's for 3 years. That was the hardest job that I had, got paid the least. Then the second hardest job was being a teacher, got paid a little bit more. And then now like being in my corporate jobs, like it's so easy and I get paid way more than any of the other jobs. So like if I can spend the rest of my life just like doing computer work and having an amazing work-life balance, being financially secure, it's like I have no complaints about this.
Mhm. I kind of feel similarly. I started at Target and I was like, this job is 9 hours on your feet and talking to people all day long. God. And then I went into teaching. What was I thinking? I don't know. All right, Elyse, are you ready?
I have a little presentation just because I'm a visual learner. It's easier for me to listen when there are visuals. Also, I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so my voice might come and go. Okay, so I just transitioned into instructional design and I'm very excited about my new role. Okay, so I work at a company called Unbox Training and Technology. And this is kind of a summary of my career journey, although it's been kind of all over the place. I was a high school French teacher, and on the right here, you can see us on strike in the Seattle Public School District. So it was off to a bad start from the beginning. I was like, oh, this is my second year of teaching. And so like, I was like, oh, this is not great. And I was a personal trainer for a while. And then I was an ESL teacher for professional soccer players, which I loved. And that's this picture on the left, some of my students. But it wasn't like stable or full-time or anything. And then I got my master's in TESOL and realized there's even less money in higher ed, even though it's more enjoyable to me than teaching in public schools. And then I was a virtual English language fellow for Turkish university students through the US Department of State. So I got into higher ed because I thought, oh, maybe this will be better, but it wasn't. It's a lot of short contracts without benefits, not knowing if I have work until the last minute. Like the people who have the 10-year jobs, it can take a really long time to get to that point. So being new to it, it was like, we might have a class for you, we might not. Would you be up for it? And so I was always working multiple jobs. And also I had student loans and I was like, how am I supposed to pay off my student loans doing what I went to school for? So, oh yeah, and this is, so I taught for the Turkish university remote, but then I did get to go back to the University of Washington last summer and I taught some Japanese students. It was kind of my like last, like before transitioning into instructional design, I got to have the experience in person being a professor. And so because a lot of my work was remote, I just moved to Mexico. I've always loved Latin culture. I lived in Costa Rica a long time ago. And so it was a great place to kind of work on my next steps because cost of living is cheaper there. I got fluent in Spanish. I already spoke it pretty well before. So I was able to not take too much work and really take my time in working on upskilling for instructional design. So this is what I did to transition. So I had been thinking about what else could I do with my skills for a long time. And I came across the field of instructional design just from some of the keywords that I was looking up with jobs. And, there's definitely a lot of crossover with teaching, but then I needed to know the tools, software, and everything. So in July last year, I signed up for Devlin Peck's flagship project and standout portfolio course bundle. And I joined these sessions, the idea networking. I joined teaching a path to L&D. And in October, I finished my portfolio. Granted, this could have happened a little bit faster, but I decided to take a class or to take a job teaching a class in Seattle for a month. And then there were some other personal things that got in the way of the timeline. But I guess looking back, it was pretty fast because then in December, I got a job at Unbox Training and Technology. But I did know someone at Unboxed. So Unboxed is in Richmond, Virginia, and my all of the positions at Unboxed are hybrid. And people had told me like the remote jobs are going to be more competitive. And if you go for something hybrid or in person, like you just have a greater chance of getting the job. And I was looking for a company of like 50 to 100 employees. I didn't want to be the only instructional designer because I wanted to learn from others. And it was like this company was just so perfect. So someone I knew from a long time ago saw, I posted on Facebook that like I posted my portfolio and everything. And I didn't even know that she worked in e-learning, but she was like, your portfolio looks great. So it does help to know people, but I'm not saying like it's impossible if you don't, but do as much networking as you can. So this is what we do at Unbox Training and Technology. Like the whole company is in the e-learning industry, which is super exciting to see like all the different roles that are in the company. And so as we were saying earlier, there's so many different things that you can do in e-learning and training. So at Unbox, we're really focused on skill agility because a lot of jobs are gonna be changing in the next several years, and people have to learn new skills. So in the workplace, should be like continuous learning, and so we create these learning experiences and technology to help a company embed continuous learning into the workplace. And that fosters skill agility for your employees, allowing learners to nimbly react to business challenges, uncover opportunities, and rise to new heights of success. So my company has been named like top 20 companies in leadership training, technical training. And what we do is we have learning content that will provide for a company like job aids, custom trainings like storyline, animations, and live action. So we'll hire actors and write scripts and do live action. I primarily work in storyline as an e-learning developer on the design team. So we also have the technology part of the company, which is the LMS called Spoke, and it has built-in AI. So we have that branch of the company. And consulting. So there are a couple of people who do needs analysis. They'll go work with a company to figure out gaps in their training. They'll design workshops or recommend best practices and try to get them to pay for our other services. So down here at the bottom, these are some of the companies that have been our clients. So it's pretty exciting. And here's a day in the life of an eDev at Unbox. I had never been to Richmond before, but on the left, you can see me getting to know some people in town. I've been exploring the city. So, so in my position, I'm an e-learning developer on the design team. We're like the production. So there are a lot of conversations that happen, and then the LXDs, they'll write the content and then we produce it. But we do work with them from the beginning to brainstorm for the storyboard, and the interactions and the design. And then we'll create a functional design to get feedback on the look and feel of the course. I never really considered myself much of a designer before, but they hired me because of my eye for design. And so I have a little bit of imposter syndrome in that, but I'm like, oh, I guess I am a designer. So then we also will be on team calls with the clients to brainstorm and review deliverables, see what they liked or didn't like. And then we'll create various versions and iterations of the project, like an alpha version and a beta version is what we call them. And the benefits are amazing. So we have a flexible work schedule. It's hybrid and 6 weeks of PTO, snacks and beverages in the office, 401k matching, health, dental, and vision insurance, 30-day sabbatical after 5 years, 30-day paid maternity leave. It's just like so many things that like it's just amazing. I can't believe it. I mean, even just the free coffee, like I'm just like, wow, there's free coffee in the office. So even though I can work from home, I love going into the office. So this is my portfolio. I just have a few things on there right now. And then this is my LinkedIn if you want to connect.
That it's so nice to see somebody say that these sessions made a difference. Like and you're not the only person that I've heard that from. Sometimes I get messages from people and I'm like, all I did was I just opened a Zoom room and I just put it out on LinkedIn and like people really responded to it. I think that it just says something about how helpful it is to encourage people that if you want to do something different, you can. I love Tyler. Tyler says you can use the bathroom almost anytime you want to. It's so true. Elise, were you trying to say something, Elise?
Oh, no, but no, yeah, it really, these sessions helped because there were times when it was really difficult and I declined several opportunities to continue to pursue this goal. And so I was like really scared like that, like, what if I don't get something soon? And or what if this doesn't work out? And just hearing from other teachers who had transitioned into instructional design, that like kept me going. I was like, okay, other people have done this, I can do this. And I also work with other people who used to teach in public schools or universities as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so gratifying. Great way to end the day. Although we're not done yet. We still have a couple more things to do. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I am going to put into the chat and edit into the recording later on a Q code for a presentation that I made last year when I presented at TESOL 2022 in Pittsburgh. It's called Starting a Career in Instructional Design, Your First Aid Kit. Paula was asking me for, just advice on getting started. She just learned about instructional design in October. And so I put this together to kind of be like an overview of like, what is the field of ID and learning development, types of jobs within the field, how to upskill, and lots of different references and resources at the end. So please do take a look at that. Our next session is actually going to be not the first week of March. I usually do them the first Tuesday of the month, but I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to Tunisia and France. So I had friends move to Tunisia in the middle of the pandemic, and I have not been able to see them until now. And so now is the time. So I'm going to Tunisia. Never been to North Africa, so this is going to be exciting. So the next session is Tuesday, March 14th, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. I will be back, freshly back from Tunisia. I will not look tan. I never tan, so do not expect to see that. I want to, before we open it up for questions, does anybody have any celebratory things to share, new jobs, victories. I got an interview, it went well.
I can share. I had
Sure.
just today, I got offered a contract by Rutledge for a book that I'm writing, which has to do with, it's actually for students. It's a student guide to completing the college project and project-based learning classrooms across disciplines. So I'm excited about that, but now I have to finish the book, so.
It's always this thing. Oh, wait, you want me to write the book now? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for
S,
letting me share. That's nice to have a place to share. It just happened today. So,
definitely. SC is clapping for you. I don't know who SC is, but he or she is clapping for you. Okay, well, with that, then I'll ask if you have questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
So yeah, I've just, like many teachers, like many of you, I'm just transitioning into the ID field, and I'm on the job hunt. I've upskilled, I've created a website, a portfolio. But I guess the worry that I have is like, I just need some kind of experience just to get my foot in the door that can maybe lead into an actual, like a full-time position. I'm wondering has anyone gone the route of like doing like contract work and then that kind of leading into having that as like experience to go on your resume that can then lead you more into more like full-time ID work positions?
I don't know, because I knew someone at the company that where I got a job. So I was thinking though, like when I was still looking, I was like, well, maybe I should like create a project for a nonprofit or something to have some experience.
I'll also say that one opportunity you might look into, I think that they're still taking people, is Design by Humanity. Has anybody heard about Design by Humanity? Design maybe X Humanity. Maybe I've been saying it wrong this whole time. I'm going to put the website into the chat. It's a mentoring program to build a portfolio and design e-learning for DEI initiatives, really. Take a look at that. If that looks interesting to you, they like to partner you with a more experienced person, and it's especially for helping Black, Indigenous, and people of color get into the L&D instructional design world. So maybe reach out to them. It's a great way to build your portfolio. I have heard, I have never been part of it, but I have heard people have good experiences with them. So maybe look into that too.
Great, thanks for that resource.
Yeah, no problem. Tyler, did you get anybody to be interested in talking about LMSs?
Yeah, one person did. They said that they like the systems thinking.
That's why it takes all kinds. I mean, I can definitely say that was a big transition from being a teacher for so many years. When you're a teacher, you're kind of out there on your own, being the one-person band, doing it all, making your own copies, doing all of it, right? And then when I stepped into this role that I'm in now, I have had to kind of learn how to not do everything, how to let people do their jobs, because and realizing that when you don't, sometimes you step on people's toes, you know?
Yeah, one thing that I really appreciate working at Bain is like everyone's so smart, and I can trust that, you know, whether they're in the same department as me or different, whether they have a higher title or lower than me, I can trust that they are experts at what they do. And that's not something I could say about like the first company that I work for, or that, you know, with other teachers that I work for, or like administration. So that was a huge like learning thing. And now I've been really able to like lean into that. It's like if I collaborate with someone and they own a piece of the solution, that I trust their work.
I definitely felt that way about when I worked in media production. We had a graphic designer and we had a video editor, and man, I just couldn't do better than them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Or it
you
would take
have
you
my-
way too much time.
Exactly. Like they know. And yeah, you know, I did like improve some of my skills, but I could always just be like, Rob, can you take a
Mhm.
look at this and tell me something's wrong. I don't know what is wrong. And then he'd be like, oh yeah, you know, your opacity's off by a couple frames. I'm like, he just knew, you know.
Yeah. And I think general advice I would also offer is like usually the answer is out there somewhere. It's like the way that I think about it is like in my own work, like I'll be damned if I am the first person to encounter a problem that has never been solved before. And I'm not a thinker. I don't like to think. I like to, you know, so if I ever like get there, like I think that might be the end of the world if I'm the first person to solve something. So I'm always like Googling or like using YouTube to find the solution or like reading a white paper, because I know that if there's a business problem that I need to solve for my team, someone's already done it. And I would pass that knowledge on to like career transitioning teachers. Is like, you are not the first teacher to transition into learning and development. So it's like of all the resources on out there, someone has the answer, and there are a lot of things that could save you time. And then, you know, just to add one more thing to that, like in 2018 when I did my career transition, like I didn't know what was out there, and I didn't really follow anything, so that's why I felt like I was going blindly. Whereas now it's like there's so many resources out there that it's kind of like, where do you like kind of get rid of the noise and like follow the signal so that you know exactly what to do. So that's something that I've seen from 2018 versus now.
Yeah. Yeah, discussion forums are kind of a wonderful place to find the answers. And you're like, well, how do I find discussion forums? Just like Tyler said, you just go to Google and be like, how do I blah, blah, blah. And you're right. Someone has already researched that problem if you're having it. Okay, so I think that's good for tonight. I hope I see you back here March 14th. Elyse and Tyler, thank you so much for being here and sharing with us. Please, if you want to give me feedback, go ahead and use that feedback form. Let me know. Otherwise, I hope to see you back here March 14th, and you can find the registration link within the agenda for tonight. Have a great night, everybody, and see you next month.
Thank you, Sharon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
All right, so great chatting with everyone.